welcome to another episode of Touring the AFC South. I am your host, Mike Patton. And on this episode, we're going to talk a lot about the Tennessee Titans. Of course, the big news, Mike Vrabel is no longer the coach of the Tennessee Titans. We're going to talk about that, press conferences, all those different things in this episode. And I figured that I would get someone that kind of has a pulse on it, and also someone that actually knows someone involved in it as well. That would be former Tennessee Titans tight end, former Florida Gator, Mr. Ben Troupe. What's going on?
Hey, Mike, man, first and foremost, Happy New Year to you. I've been happy to be back on with you. And, watching this thing from afar, I know you definitely keep me up to beat on everything going on. But I was like, well, with everything going on, I know Mike finna be like, shaking and moving when it comes to, because it seems like news happens so fast. I want to be able to give my 2 cents, so here we are.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, of course, this episode is going to be Titans-centric. So if you don't want to hear about the Titans, then, hey, sorry for you. But this is what we're going to do on this episode for the most part. And now, with every episode, I start off with the Get Off Your Chest segment. And it's going to be Titan-focused, too. I'm going to talk about Mr. Ran Carthon. Now, of course, Mike Vrabel got fired.
Yes.
Of course, he's no longer here. But the things I kept seeing talked about was, well, they need to fire Ran too. Ran ain't did anything. Ran didn't do this. Ran didn't do that. And let's just say it was a particular type of people that was talking about Mr. Ran Carthon. So, let me just kind of address this real quick. First off, Ran Carthon came here. He had a pretty terrible budget to deal with because all the money was tied up. And then, of course, he didn't have a ton of picks to play with because John Robinson had traded those, if you don't remember, Titans fans. So he came in with a tight budget. And people want to point out the one thing that they think he did wrong was his Andre Dillard signing, which I get it. It didn't really work out as well as everyone thought it would. But that isn't the only signing that happened. Now, if you don't remember, he signed Azeez Al-Shire from the San Francisco 49ers, and you could arguably say he was the best player on that defense for the entirety of the season. There you go. And he got him for a pretty cheap deal. You bring in Sean Murphy-Bunting. I would say this. He had some issues as well in terms of, penalties, things like that. But, hey, he was better than what you would have had in probably Caleb Farley, who was injured this year. He's better than some other players that you may have had out there. So, hey, bargain signing. You get pieces in the draft, like a potential quarterback to build your draft around, an all-purpose running back in Tyree Spears. Then you get, the undrafted guys that make the team, like Eric Guerrero and like a Caleb Murphy, and all those different pieces. You bring in an Arden Key on a pretty good deal, and he has an impact with his energy and his leadership as well. So while you want to point out the pick of Andre Dillard, and yes, again, probably didn't work out the way everyone thought it did, you got to point out all the rest of the things that worked out too. You can't just give half a picture and say, hey, that's a masterpiece. You just can't do that. You got to give all the components to it. And I think some of these comments are deeply rooted in you didn't want Ran anyway.
Yes.
You don't like it that he's in power anyway and that he's making the decisions. So all I want to say is, look, he's the man. He's making the decisions. He's making it happen. Either you deal with it or you jump off being a Titans fan. End of discussion. What you got for that, Ben?
I would add to it too. I mean, let's just go back a year ago. Ran Carthon, he makes history. He's the first black GM in Titans history. You already know it was going to be some, what are they doing? What's going to go on, right? And he's earned his way. He's earned his way when you talk about being a scout, to be the head scout, to just what he was able to do with the Rams, with Jeff Fisher, who hired him, by the way. For those of you who were thinking, oh, they don't know what they're doing. Well, Jeff Fisher, the greatest coach in Titans history, hired Ran Carthon. He was over there. Then he moves over to the 49ers, and you see what he was able to do over there. He was muzzled from the start. He don't have – to say he didn't have money is keeping it really, 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 really light. He didn't have nothing to work with, right? But in the midst of all of that, he still got DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre could have went anywhere. Fans didn't like DeAndre. Then he played my Falcons and goes off for 3 touchdowns and still made it over 1,000 yards. Still got Will Levis, a guy who a lot had slated top 10 pick, got in the first pick of the second round. We talk about Spears at the running back position. Here's the thought. Listen, and this is not to pick on nobody. Treylon Burks is supposed to be the number 1 guy. It's DeAndre, right? Chiggs at tight end. We was waiting for him to take another step. These things happen. I'm not calling nobody out as far as their game specifically, but why do people keep trying to make it seem as if, Mike, that, it's like what? Ran Carthon wasn't no legacy hire. He's not like Arthur Smith, who's no longer with the Falcons, who Arthur Blank and his daddy were best friends, Home Depot and it was nothing like that. But here's the thing. With all that happened, the Titans still had a shot this year. With all that stuff we just mentioned, right? With Derrick Henry kind of not being himself, they're trying to go with a different style of offense. They still had a shot. And they still took the team who everybody thought would run away with the division and send them home. You think that would be enough? Nope. And I think that's the culture of the Titans right now that I don't like is you're looking for every reason to justify the fact that you don't like people already. Like you don't like them. You got some type of vendetta against them. And when they sort of kind of prove you right, you just jump out. But here's the thought. Just imagine if the Titans had the same arsenal and team that the Jags did. Coming into this season, they the overall favorite, and they do what the Jags did. Could you imagine what they would be saying right now? But it was the other way. But you knew this, Mike, from the jump. And let me say this to the fans that should have known this. You usually go GM, then head coach. Not head coach, fire GM, hire new. GMs get to pick 2 things, a quarterback and a coach. Well, he got a quarterback, got Will Levis, right? But he didn't pick Vrabel. And it's not like it was an ugly, divorce. We already saw Vrabel, that's a respect thing. That's like trading a guy to a team that's meant a lot to your team to a team that's a contender. That's respect. So I say that to say the Titans are an organization to me that's still trying to find their identity, even though I don't think they're that far off. But if you think Ran Carthon is a problem, I think you are already solidifying who you are, whether you're a media personality or just a casual fan, because some of the stuff that's being said by Ran, I don't think it got nothing to do with him and his position. I think it's something else. We'll save that for another day, because some of this stuff don't even sound like. I'm like, wait a minute, man, you don't even know him. So right. I will say, any team that's good in the NFL, that's in the playoffs, right? They got 2 things in common. They got a solid culture and they got money to spend. Look, just look around. If you ain't got money to spend, listen, man, the NFL is a lot of things. It ain't no auction. It ain't no. I'm trying to get. It ain't that. And the day, and I think winning organizations understand you got to spend to win. That's it. You got to spend to win. So I'm happy that you said what you said, Michael. Like I say, some of the things I heard about Ran, I used to be like, "Oh, you talking about Ran Carthon, the guy that just got there?" Yeah. Y'all talking as if this is year 10 and nothing has come from. Ran will be fine. I think you got some nice, solid pieces. And pieces got to be a mixture of the draft and veterans, which I think you do. I mean, these are the same Titans fans that said DeAndre Hopkins was a bump. What? DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah.
What? Y'all don't know football, man. Like I said, DeAndre Hopkins, man, is about as good as a player you can be. It ain't going to always be 1,500 yards. But with this style of offense, and he's still having to mentor Treylon Burks, which I'm still, hoping Treylon Burks take the next step. It was just a lot went on, but like I said, when I saw that Vrabel was going to move on, I said, here it come. Here come what you really want to say. Some of y'all were just thinking, I don't want to just say it to Ran. I'm going to wait for Vrabel to get fired. Then man, this was in the works, man. And let me tell you something. I'm going to say this too. What would have happened if the Titans was in the playoffs, went deep into the playoffs, lost, and he still got fired? Okay, that could have happened too. Y'all be thinking because of how the season ended. No, man, plans are made. You be professional, respectful. Right, Vrabel, let me say this, man. We appreciate what you meant to the Titans organization, you were a hell of a coach. I'm talking about hell of a coach. Listen, Marcus Mariota and company almost beat this Kansas City team that y'all talking about. Oh, that dynasty could have easily got so. So you talk about Marcus Mariota, you talk about so many quarterbacks under center since he's been there, and he still find a way. So Vrabel, we appreciate you. Ran, listen, man. I don't know what you have to deal with in San Francisco with the Rams, but Nashville ain't a big enough city for people to not know you when they see you in the supermarket, man. Just keep doing what you're doing. It's only a year under your belt. I think you got a solid foundation with this draft coming up and this offseason coming up.
That's right. That's right, man. Don't mind me, man. My eyes is over here doing the most over here, man. So
it's all good.
But yeah, man. Getting into it, getting off your chest, man. Talking about the Titans season, man. Did you kind of see them finishing in last place this year?
No,
I don't know. I think I did.
No. Mike, this is what I thought going into the season. I'm just them boys in Jacksonville got something cooking. I mean, they just do. When you talk about what they, Trayvon Walker 10 sacks, Josh Allen, that offense, and they go out there and get Tank Bigsby in the freaking second round. They had some pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I know what Anthony Richardson is capable of doing, being a Florida guy myself, understand, but I knew he's gonna have to learn. I did not see this coming from Houston. I just didn't. I mean, I know what CJ Stroud is. I'm rooting for D'Amico Ryans, but I'm like, somebody need to tell them that they both rookie coaches and rookie. Somebody forgot to tell both of them. So for me, with the Titans, I was like, it's gonna come down to can they just, stay afloat when it comes to them Jags. And obviously the season, it just took so many twists and turns. What really stood out this year that bothered me the most, and this ain't to pick on nobody, when Byard went to freaking Philly, I said, what is it about trading your best play? Listen to me, people. Just because the person is older don't mean they ain't the best still. I don't know where people get that from. So Byard goes over to freaking Philly in a defense that was still trying to find its identity. And like I said, it used to be a time to where veterans found a way to beat younger guys because younger guys still trying to figure it out. Jacksonville decided after the first 11 weeks, hey, man, we just going to do something else. Indy was still in it with Gardner Minshew doing his best, Nick Foles impression, trying to get them in the playoffs. and them boys over there in Houston, man, CJ Stroud, he's something serious, man. That boy, he's nice, and he's still figuring out. So, but I still saw the Titans finishing no less than third, fourth. That's disappointing because you know how it is, Mike. I mean, you don't get but so many years to get this thing built up before you start. I got to tear it down again, build it up again. So I don't think it's you got to blow it all up. But keeping Jacksonville out it feels good to do it, but you still finish last in the process of doing that. So yeah, that the Byard situation, the what are we on offense situation? Do we want to run the ball? Do we want to throw the ball? And obviously, finishing last is always disappointing because I thought we had. I mean, we didn't have the best quarterback in the division. We had the most experience in the division.
Mm-hmm.
That seemed it didn't work. And like I said, when once Tannehill get hurt and Will get in there, it's just when you don't got stability at the quarterback position, it's going to be hard to win because you got to develop some type of cohesiveness, and that just wasn't there this year.
That's right. It definitely wasn't. But, there is an off season, though. There is an off season. And the Titans have the second most cap space in the NFL this off season. Now, I will say one guy that I think needs to be paid immediately. That would be Azeez Al-Shire. Yeah. You can't let him walk. You cannot let him walk.
Especially with what you got him to come here for
right.
and to see what he did. And listen, but those of you who don't understand the power of Ran Carthon, Ran got him from a team that's the number one seed in the NFC. He pulled them from them. And look at what he did. He's more than outperformed his contract. And just like Jeffrey Simmons this time last year going to out, he needs to be a priority, huge priority.
Yes, definitely. And then I would say offensively, I don't know if they'll bring back Arden Key or not. I would like for them to, but I don't know how much of Aziz is the bigger priority. I know that for sure. And of course, Danico Autry is a free agent as well. So that'll be interesting what they do up front with those two pieces and Aziz. It'll be definitely interesting to watch.
It will. The two things the Titans got on their side is the division and the state. I mean, no taxes. I mean, that's going to be very, very attractive to a lot of free agents. And you talk about an AFC South, that it's up for grabs right now. It's not like, if you in like, you got to deal with a Kansas City every year or Baltimore every year in your division. Hey, man, you got what? You're going to have 2 second-year quarterbacks, and one of them being offensive rookie of the year, one coming off an injury, and another one who I know he's talented in Jacksonville, but he's a lot of other things too. I mean, he is talented, but he does a lot of things that gets pushed under the rug, like, it's 4th and goal on the 1 yard line, and that wasn't the quarterbacks. I don't know what that was. I'm happy that he did it, but when you make decisions like that, hey man, it ain't Jameis Winston against my Falcons running the ball, but it ain't far from it. They got a play called, and I'm gonna be the hero, and I end up being something else. So I think that having money, having that division in that state, no taxes, Ran got to stick his chest out a little bit. Hey, bro, because at the end of the day, you don't care where you play as long as you get when it's time to get your money, I want my money. So I'll go wherever I got to go. I mean, I'm a Georgia boy, so I can get my house in Georgia and live out my days in the NFL in Nashville and love it. And when you get, and like I said, it's time for the Titans to make some waves, because I'm tired of these bargain free agents. Give me a big free agent that you can pay some big money to. And hey, Ran, like I say, we talking like it's our money. You got money to spend. Hopefully they'll come off that checkbook a little bit.
Yeah, hopefully so. Hopefully something. We'll see what happens when it comes to this offseason. But, of course, I want to apologize, of course, for the technical difficulties on my end. I don't know what happened over there, but, hey, I'm back. But, we do have to get into this press conference. I want to get into that, but, first,
yes,
we want to take a quick commercial break on Touring the AFC South with your host, Mike Pat. Boy, oh boy, that press conference there.
A shift. A shift is something that happens and changes the dynamics. And that's what happened when Garrett Logistics was born. After 10 years as a sales pro in the logistics world of sporting goods, John Garrett decided to pivot to the world of freight and start a brokerage. So you're saying to yourself, why trust Garrett Logistics? Well, Garrett Logistics helps shippers improve overall workflow, along with increased on-time pickup and delivery percentages. Last-minute loads, multi-drop pickups, and more are part of the services with Garrett Logistics. They're available Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., all times Central Standard Time. So give them a ring at 615-400-8484. That's 615-400-8484, or you can email them at john@garrettlogistics.co or visit their website at garrettlogistics.co. Garrett Logistics, where the motto is, it's not just freight to us, it's your business.
And we are back. Now, while we were on break, some news came through that ESPN and NFL are in advanced talk that would give the league a stake in NFL Network. In the network, I mean the ESPN. So ESPN and NFL Network.
I mean, I might. Hold on. If we were much younger, we would be like, what? Listen, ESPN is trying to let y'all know, look, we want it all. No. You don't call this. They want it all. And a lot of that is because if you see how this playoff schedule, you got all these different companies that has rights. It's a lot of different. I got this information. And to me, when the last time the worldwide leader in sports didn't have official rights? Hey man, because money talks. So
right.
It's quote in the works. I guarantee you that'll be finalized before the season begins.
It will. But what wasn't finalized was some questions that some people had when it came to the Titans in the press conference. Now, I will say this: Ran was up there by himself facing the media, which I didn't necessarily like that.
Yeah.
But I didn't like that setup. But anyway, I remember one moment when he was responding to a question where he got cut off by a reporter and he had to put the hold please finger up to continue talking. And then basically, it just, I don't know, I just thought that was a little bit disrespectful for a reporter thinking that he cut him off while he's talking.
It's Mike, look, you would think, right? We used to think, and we still should feel, my position should come with a certain level of decorum, respect, because I've earned this. And that's no disrespect to the media. We're a part of the media. So it's not like but media members should call each other out. Why are you cutting me off? Like, when did you decide that what I'm saying is not more important than what you want to say? And then this is what starts happening. That same reporter will get less and less questions answered, or they'll get very rudimentary answers from now on, and then they get mad. I go, look, I got to say this again. Ran is a person. He's a man, and then he has his position. Because I think the thing about like you just said, why is he up there by himself? Like, why? Because I guarantee you this. Take the owner. Put the owner up there next to him, right? And she won't get that type. Man, I just don't. No. Listen, let me say this. Nashville media is some of the best media in the NFL. I mean, because there are some, it is just crazy. And the whole thing about it is, don't you realize this is your chance to be on display for the world to see? And you cutting people off? All I'm saying is it kind of reminds me of Giovanni down there with Tampa. They asked him a question, and they cut him off. He like, wait. Or I guess he was leaving. They wanted him to talk about, listen. Being a part of the media, us being a part of the media, we know the last thing I want to do is be disrespectful. I want to get my question answered. And I got to speak for me as well as those in the room. But when I'm cutting, listen, and think about this. Ran don't want to have to stick his finger up. He's like, whoa. Like, it's like, no, think about that. And listen, for those of you, that's professionalism. Because Ran, like, hey, I want to light you up, but I can't. Because I'm still first year in and trying to do things the right way. But I'm telling you, one media member will make it bad for everybody. I'm telling you, one will make it bad for everybody. But yeah, getting back to you, I didn't like that because I don't care if you've been in the media 20 years, 30 years. What you cutting me off for? Because then if I say something back to you, now I've taken a press conference and made it about you, and we live in a viral moment world now. Mm-hmm. Everything Ran does is being critiqued, from what he wears to how he looks to his demeanor and behaviorisms and his responses. So, yeah, Mike, I didn't like that because I'm like, bro, listen, it's uncomfortable. We get it. Vrabel's gone. Y'all going to blame me. That's fine. But please let me talk. Like, come on, man. I think that's crazy.
Yeah, it very much was. And the biggest thing that kept being mentioned was the vision. Talking about the vision. And people were mad because Ran did not tell them what the vision was. It didn't dawn. Did it not dawn on people that maybe he didn't want to talk about the vision? That maybe him and Amy Adams Strunk both said they weren't going to talk about the vision. But do you notice the response to Amy Adams Strunk not talking about the vision as opposed to what the response to Ran was not talking about the vision? It was two totally different responses in that matter.
It was tone deaf. It was respect. The one tone deaf to the. It's once again. It's almost like now you got to come and do a press conference and say, "Listen, let me just give you." It's like giving you a brief summary of the game. Look, let me give you this, give you that. And number one, I don't got to talk about a vision like I'm a new head coach at a team. The new head coach got to say that kind of stuff, ladies and gentlemen. The new head coach of the Tennessee Titans, so on, so and so. I'm the GM. I may never talk to y'all about the vision. Matter of fact, any GM that does that, stop doing that. You don't have to tell them about the vision. I'll let you know what the vision is. Look at the draft. Look at the offseason. That's the vision. See the guys we put here? And the coach can, because like I said, once again, I got to say this though, the Ran. Sometimes you got to be reminded, man, where you at. Because once they say, oh, okay, this is how it is, got it. I see how, and I'm not saying you got to be defensive. I'm not saying you got to be standoffish. But Mike, you and Davenport and y'all gonna see. I used to think, dang, why do certain people talk to certain people? Because they treat them like people. Like seriously, because people gonna be like, hey man, why can't I get? Hey Mike, you think you can get Ran? Nope. You can give me his number? No. Oh no. Mm-mm. Because I'm not doing no favors, man. So Ran, like I said, just when you a GM, you're learning as you go too. I'm not saying his learning curve ain't steep, but if I say I ain't talking about division and you cutting me off, I mean, at a certain point, I'm like, well, I thought it wasn't me. Oh, it's me. Oh, okay. I got it. But like I said, if I met Ran, 18, 19-year-old Ran, a Rendrick. That's his real name. If you want to see that portion come out, hey man, I ain't mad. Because sometimes, I'm not saying you gotta do it all the time, but sometimes you gotta let people know, hey now, wait a minute now. Don't do that. And he'll decide that win. But that press conference, it was hard to watch because it was pretty straightforward until the media started asking these questions, especially the same ones. I'm like, man, you know what this is? You know what this is? Y'all act like this Belichick just got, like his Nick say, I get those. Those are the hard ones. Vrabel moved on. It was respectful. It wasn't, no hard feelings. It was all respect. When you get in this press conference, the owner say a couple of words, man, play Ran like, are they talking to me? I'm just, how it is, a person do something with their face, oh, he want to say something right there. But it's like, let me get this straight. It's supposed to be professionalism on the podium and off the podium. Both ways. And it just didn't, the tone just didn't feel like that in the room.
No, it definitely didn't. It definitely, I got to applaud him for holding this composure because, a few times I was watching and I'm over here and my jaw was getting tight.
Yeah.
And I'm not even the one talking. So,
yeah,
it just was quite interesting, just the reactions and things like that. Now, he did say that, once they decide on the head coach, he will talk about the vision then. But people weren't trying to hear that. But it just, I'm like, and then, of course, I do view social media, and in particular, somebody was saying a few things, but I digress. And we're going to go over now to the Amy Adams Strunk portion of this interview. Now, she sat down with the voice of the Tennessee Titans, which is Mike Keith. And, of course, it wasn't interesting, but it was basically she laid out what happened. She said she was the one who fired Mike Vrabel or let him go. She was basically the one who owned it, but yet still people thought Ran did it. And I'm like, okay, it's a shame she has to keep saying this out loud for anyone to believe it. But the thing I didn't like about that is you got some people talking about it was an emotional decision and trying to say because she was mad about something and basically trying to say she made an emotional decision because she was a woman. That's what you had people just insinuating on social media, and it was so much more further from the truth than that. This woman wants to win.
Yes.
Well, you can criticize her for how they handled the press conference, doing it with just her and not him. I mean, with him and just not her and him. But you can criticize that. But making a decision because you think it's best for the team and you reduce it to, oh, she's doing this, she's mad, it had some vendetta against him. Oh, she's, basically trying to put it down to she's a woman making an emotional decision. And I'm like, come on now, people. I know it's the year of our Lord 2024. Come on.
Number one. You know what's crazy? I go, so, the great Bud Adams, man, may he rest in paradise. People think just because, that's my daddy, I'm going to take it over. They don't go like that. See, people, oh, I'm just going to take it over. Here, you know how I know? Dallas don't even got a GM. Steve, I'm just saying. No, I'm gonna put my son as the president. I'm gonna be the GM. Jerry Jones' son, I'm putting the president. Why don't you make him GM? Nope. Own dad don't even trust his son. Nope. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, too, right? People need to start realizing when you press in, I can see that. I can see what you really feeling. Emotional decisions. So let me get this straight. So every time a coach get fired, it's emotional. She didn't like him. Yes, she did. She hired him. She just no. Business is the game of football. Winning is the bottom line, but at the same time, she's looking at the future. She's saying, "Hey, Mike, you are an incredible coach, but I just don't see this gelling." These are these private conversations. Sat in front of Mike Keith, the voice of the Titans, right? And then people saying, "Yeah, man, just from what when did we become, when did we be, looking at these people like, oh man, I mean, body language experts. She's emotional." Let me tell you something. I'm happy that she's in that position and not some of the people making these comments, because I'm telling you, if you are watching the Titans, you know that Vrabel's best years were not we're not coming to the president anytime soon. And that doesn't mean he's not a great coach. Vrabel's gonna land on his feet. With all these coaching hires, he's gonna be fine. He's gonna be fine. But you would think that after she set the record straight, they still Ran the one to do. Ran the one. Let me tell people this again. Even when GMs fire coaches, who you think told them to fire them? I'm just gonna wait a minute. I can't fire him if I got a boss. No, the boss told me, I tell him. She said, I did it. That's respect. I did it. That don't matter though. That don't matter because she's a woman. She's emotional. Really? That's what we resorting to? You're cutting people off in press conferences. You're calling the owner emotional. Like I said, these decisions aren't easy to come by. Vrabel was a harder decision than people understand. He's one of the best coaches. He was one of the best coaches in the NFL. He was a top 10 coach, man, regardless of the record. And like I said, I get it. Not a lot of storylines, until, Belichick and, Saban and Carroll decided to, so we got to drum up some stuff. Was it emotional decisions? Was it emotional for Ron Rivera? Was it emotional for Arthur Smith? Was it emotional for Coach Staley out there with the Chargers? No. Oh, okay. Got it. Because they was gone. Yeah, but they don't got a woman as their owner. Nonsense. I think Kansas City has a woman as their owner. Look how good it is. Man, get out of here with that. I can't stand that stuff. Because like I say, that's the part, Mike, that get on my nerves. If you don't know what you're talking about, just listen. And I'm not calling you this. But, if you have like idiotic, moronic type tendencies, just leave it to perception. Don't press sin and leave no doubt. Because when you press, okay, because y'all gonna be the same ones want exclusives. See, y'all same ones don't listen. There is a person that works for the Titans, and all they do is monitor Titans Twitter. So if it's attached to them, it's attached to you. They gonna remember it, and they supposed to. So don't be like, "How you doing?" This that. No, you don't want to say. I'm emotional, ain't I? No. I was. Come on, man. Stop with the nonsense. Miss me with that.
Right.
Crazy.
Right. But one thing that you can say about Amy Adams Strunk is she definitely wants to win and definitely wants to put a solid product out there.
Yes.
Not just on the football field, but she wants to do it around the entire organization. You see the upgraded facilities.
I'm about to say, man, it looked different. I mean, I said all I had was the bubble. Now, when Ran got hired, he's looking upstairs. I'm like, they've always had an upstairs, but they got it to where as soon as you come in the facility, I'm like, Ms. Adams, man, listen, you want a 32 NFL owner. Seriously? She ain't wearing it. We'll be your mouthpiece. She ain't worrying about that nonsense. Trust and believe.
Right. It's just, I don't know. I had to address both of those press conferences because, man, look, I was sitting there like, come on, people, come on. I've met Amy Adams Strunk, and yeah, she definitely is going to say everything she got to say with her chest. She is definitely going to say it so you can hear it, and she ain't ducking nobody's smoke. She going to say exactly what she wants to say. But yeah. And I definitely am looking forward to seeing what the vision becomes as, of course, in a few years, they will be in the new stadium, which I believe they're breaking ground this spring for the new stadium. So, and it's going to be right next to where the stadium is right now.
Loving it. I never ever, two things. Being a guy that got drafted by the Titans, man, and I'm always forever indebted, to Floyd Reese, may he rest in peace. Mike Heimerdinger, the offensive coordinator when I first got there, Jeff Fisher. What I'm always going to be indebted to is the fact that the Nashville community is a different type of city. Like, it just is. And when I was there for the draft of 2019, it just melted my heart, man, because I said, God, I look at all these people on Broadway, man. I mean, because in my mind, I'm like, where you gonna put it? He said, we're gonna put it right there at the end of Broadway. I'm like, what? And then for a stadium that's going through a lot of different names, LP Field, Coliseum, a lot of names. I said, what solidifies a city when it comes to the NFL? They say hosting a Super Bowl. You can host a Super Bowl. I said, well, in order for and listen, and people saying, well, they got to get it done. The fact that the city of Nashville is doing what they're doing, man, so proud of the city, because when I was there, that thing was a hope and a dream. If that, like, we're gonna do what hosting the draft. So the fact that they're doing that, and I'm loving that, because it brings the highest level of respect to that city, to those fans, to the state of Tennessee, because ain't no Super Bowls going to Miami. I mean, Mississippi, Alabama. It ain't
right.
It ain't happening. And I'm telling y'all, when you talk about, University of Tennessee, you talk about University of Memphis, when you talk about Austin P and MTSU and TSU, that stuff is huge, because all those college teams get elevated. And like I said, so I'm just looking forward to whenever they say when they 20-something, they're gonna win that bid. I'm gonna be in there. I don't know how the hell I'm gonna get a ticket, but I'm getting in there. I'm getting in there, because that's a city that raised me as a young man. I was a young grown man, and I just know what it's gonna mean. Titans fans don't get enough notoriety and recognition for their fandom, because it is crazy. It ain't. I don't compare them to other fans. I don't got to. But listen, that two-tone blue gonna be serious, man. And like I said, I'm just happy for the city that they're doing that. And I'm just looking forward to seeing them new digs, man. I mean, in Nashville, that's gonna be wild to see. It's gonna be crazy to see.
Man, I just want them to break out like the red uniforms at one point. When I was a kid, I had the red Steve McNair jersey.
Yes.
And I kept hoping and praying. I was like, man, they're gonna break out them red uniforms one time. And I ain't seen it my entire life, man. I'm just like, come on, one time.
I mean, look, they got to listen. They got to come with some new tradition. I get the Oilers. I would put the Oilers uniforms up against anybody. Them things nice, man. They nice. But hey, man, whoever's the head coach, and Ran gonna definitely be the GM. You got to do something. I remember when they got the amphitheater. Listen, man, Nashville hadn't got bougie since I left, man. They got the amphitheater downtown, and they doing jersey reveals. But I'm happy for the city, because I couldn't have seen none of this stuff. And like I said, they're going to have to do something, Mike. I mean, look, I went to the University of Florida. We broke out the black uniform this year. We lost, so they ain't coming back. I hope you enjoyed it. You'll never see it again. But the Titans got to do something just for the city when you break out that. You know what I'm saying? And what's it going to hurt? I know people saying, well, the Texans, they wear all red. The Texans don't got real colors. The Texans will wear all red, all white, all blue. They'll wear anything. The Texans will wear anything. They'll give me a jersey, let's go. They really don't care. And the most rudimentary, easygoing jersey combination you ever seen is the Colts. Blue and white. They go, ain't nothing to it. And the Jags, they don't know what they want to wear. When they had the mustard color rush jerseys on that one, too many moons ago when it was the Smurfs, they had, the Titans had on the Smurf blue and they had on that mustard. That was hard to watch. I said, woo woo. I said, this is what y'all came with Nike? Y'all got to do better than this. They got to do better than this. Now, I hope, listen, Titans come out with the Reds. Mike will be in the building with his. Listen, he gonna have his on that day. Every grown man needs to go back to his childhood, and that'll be Mike's time to give say, hey man, and listen, and Titans get a win that day. Don't waste the moment, man. Don't do what my Falcons do. They waste moments every chance they get. Please.
I will tell you this. What was I gonna say? Oh, you forgot the helmets that were half black and half gold.
The hot and cold. Yes, listen. That hot and cold. The thing about the Jags is always gonna be funny. They got some okay looking units today. Now listen, when the Jags did their jersey reveals, I said, if y'all don't get out of here with these practice jerseys, what kind of jerseys is these? they didn't look like anything. I'm like, okay. So listen, like I said, the AFC South as a whole is always competing for national notoriety because of the team. You ain't got a Peyton Manning in the conference anymore. So for me, it's a collective thing, but it's also an individual thing. And like I said, the Titans, we had white helmets when I was there. They got obviously they've done the baby blue helmets. Now they got the navy blue helmets. Just don't do a hot to cold. Do not do a hot to cold. Don't start light blue and then go to the don't do it for two reasons. One, that doesn't look good. And two, I don't want the Jags thinking we need to take anything from them. They need to get out of here. For real.
All right. Well, we were going to talk about a little bit more about the Jags collapse and the Colts and things like that, but I think we've done enough talking about the Titans.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to get to the end of the show. We're going to talk about, of course, the end of the show is always a game. 5 questions, 2 answers, and 1 choice. Ben Troupe, are you ready?
Oh, man. Listen. I'm going to do my best, but let's get to it. Let's do it.
All right. Interviewer or interviewee, which one do you like to do more?
Woo! I would say interviewee because I can get more of the tone of the interviewer and I can kind of flow with his or her tone. So I like being the interviewee. I think the interviewer is too many unknowns.
Oh man, I'm about 200 and almost 230 some odd episodes in. So trust me, I know. I know. All right. You got to cheer for one of these teams, Alabama or LSU. Which one are you picking?
Oh my God. Oh man. If I had to pick, I hate this. I would probably go Alabama. I can't LSU, man. It just they've had our number so long. So you giving me 2 awful picks, but I would go a little bit Alabama over LSU because LSU, man, baseball, football. So yeah, I would go Alabama.
Okay, all right. Now you got to pick between these 2 former Titan quarterbacks. You got to pick one of them if you want to start and win a game. Jake Locker or Zach Mettenberger. Which one are you picking?
Good God. Zach Mettenberger, Jake Locker. God, dog, man. If I got to win one, I got to win a game.
Yeah, I know it's tough, man. I know they didn't necessarily win most games.
You know what? I just think for one game, I think Jake Locker could just for one game. He's the more talented of the 2. I would go Jake. And now, once again, this is begrudgingly, and I'm looking at him in the face. I'm like, I'm gonna go with Jake Locker. I just think that his time with the Titans, man, it was just one of them. It was just one of those times in a player's career that it just didn't work out. It happens to a lot, but Zach and Jake, I would go with. I thought you were going to say Vince and V1 and Vince and Steve McNair, but I would go with Jake Locker in this game.
Nah, I gotta go with the hard ones, man. Gotta go with the hard ones. Now, as far as the next question, 49ers or Rams, who you got has the best? Who you think has the best chance to win the Super Bowl between those 2 teams?
While I do think Sean McVay has done one of the best coaching jobs of his career, not having Cooper Kupp, and you got that young rookie who just lit it up. I think it's San Francisco. I think they have everything. I mean, running game, tight end, receiver, freaking defense. I think if San Francisco was ever built, you add Chase Young, God dog, you add him. Thanks a lot, Washington. I think it's gonna be the 49ers. I think that what they've done this year has been incredible, and they're doing it with a 2nd-year quarterback in Brock Purdy, who, let's face it, man, he was Mr. Irrelevant could have won last year if he don't tear the nerve in his shoulder. So for me, like what the Rams are doing, but I think the 49ers is just built differently because they can beat you in a lot of ways.
Well, I don't know if you caught it. I actually said the Ravens or the.
You said the Ravens. I'm sorry, the Ravens. We'll just cancel all that out. Just wait. I thought you said the Rams. It's the Ravens, and this is why Lamar Jackson's going to win the MVP, and he didn't lead the league in passing yards. He didn't lead the league in touchdown passes. He led the league in passes. He led the league in quarterback efficiency, and does it seem like that defense is pretty? I mean, that Ravens defense, they went to San Francisco. Oh, this is going to be a game. Brock Purdy realized real quick, hey, man, that's what game planning looks like, homie. That's what it looks like. So for me, shout out to Lamar Jackson, about to win his second MVP. Him and Patrick Mahomes, the only two black quarterbacks to ever win two. I know they got, my man Steve McNair, he won one. But I think it's the Ravens, man. I don't know where they got any flaws. And this is the thing. Odell Beckham is on the team, but he's not even a contributor like that. Like, they ain't even looking for him. So when you got a player of that caliber, who he's out there out of respect, not necessarily because of the game. And I heard a little birdie say they might be getting that tight end back to go along with Isaiah Likely. So if they get Andrews back to go along with, listen, Likely had a play that people ain't talking about. That boy caught one-handed on the sideline. Coastal Carolina boy, by the way. Coastal Carolina. So for me, Ravens all day. And once again, I know the first time it was Ravens San Francisco, it was Harbaugh versus Harbaugh, even though one just won the national championship, can't get rid of these Harbaughs. I think for me, it's the Ravens. And Mike, is the NFL ready for the face of the league to potentially not be Patrick Mahomes? It could potentially be Lamar Jackson, man, even though that they would do that begrudgingly. They wouldn't like that, but they would have to deal with it, live with it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh yeah, we did have a comment in the Twin the AFC South inbox from Jahan Walker. He is so cool. She's definitely not talking about me. She's talking about you.
Hey man, I'm doing my best. Mike, make it easy. At the end of the day, you don't get but so many people in this business that you respect. I respect Mike anytime he need me, man. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Now, let's see the last question. We're gonna go to music, man. We're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it Georgia. We're gonna keep it Georgia. We're going with a couple songs, get you hype in the club. Let's see. Go back in the day with it. But No Problem by Lil Scrappy.
Yeah.
Or Bone Crusher, Never Scared. Which song?
I said he's Bone Crusher. Okay, listen. You don't want no problems. You don't want no problems. It's just always Lil Scrappy. But it's like this. I'm gonna go with Bone Crusher for this reason. If they played it on the loudspeaker, if they played Lil Scrappy, a lot of people gonna know it. But I recently went. I went to the Falcons when the Falcons played the Saints at home, and they did the celebration of hip hop. Everybody was in the building. Jeezy, Ludacris, T.I. When Bone Crusher came out, the building went crazy. Cause he started with attention. I mean, you just and that's the thing. I don't even know any other Bone Crusher song. I don't know any other Bone Crusher songs. It don't matter though. He got a banger so for me, it's always Bone Crusher because obviously, Mike, telling our age a little bit. That's back when we was young enough to have we say we had 415s in the trunk. It was probably 412s. It wasn't 415s. It wasn't. You couldn't afford. Listen, you wanted the 15s, but you couldn't afford the 15s. So we got the 412s. That's when the trunks were wrapped. So for me, love you, Lil Scrappy. But Headbuzz always. But man, it's all in the name, man. Never scared. Let's do it all day long.
All right. That's 5 questions, 2 answers, and 1 choice. You are off the hot seat. We have reached the end of the show, Mr. Ben Troupe. Thank you again for bringing your unique perspective to the show. And if you would tell everyone where they can find you, where they can find your podcast. They got to tell them about the podcast, right? And then and anything else you're working on as well. Oh, yeah. Well, first and foremost, man, Mike, I always appreciate you having me on. I said this when we first came on. I said, anybody can come on the show the first time. You made some type of impact when you get invited back a second time. And like I say, man, we don't get a chance to do this enough. Follow me on all social media outlets at Ben Troupe 84.
And my podcast at 84 Reasons. It's through the University of Florida NIL platform, Florida Victorious. I get a chance to sit down with current, future, and former Gators, whether that be players, coaches, family members, fans, and it's been really, really fun. I mean, anywhere that they have a podcast, you can see it on YouTube, and it's been fun. It's been fun getting into this podcast world. It's a grind. It ain't fair. Listen, don't do podcasts because you think it's cool and neat. No. If you ain't gonna listen, if you ain't gonna promote it, do it, edit it, put it out, leave it alone. And listen to me. If you gonna get guests, get the best ones. I'm gonna say that again. You can't get your cousin's friend who gonna go. You can't do that. Get people. Listen. My guest list ain't nothing like Mike. Mike could have Jamel Hill, and he might have Shannon Sharp next week. Who knows? But let me tell you, and I got another podcast that's going to be dropping probably in February. It's going to be called Only One Dash, which means Only One Life. I get a chance to, doing so much sports media, sometimes I just want to talk life, just want to come on here. So, when I have Mike and Mike, and listen, and I'm on the left and Mike's on the right, or however we have it, I get to learn a little bit about Mike Patton, the man, because, remember we talked about earlier with Ran. Ran did this. That's the man doing that. That ain't the GM. Hey, that's that. And in the words of Shannon Sharp, if you ain't gonna say it to me to my face away from these cameras, don't do it in front of. Don't do the cowardly thing, man. Don't. And listen, and I'm not promoting violence, no way, shape, or form. Just if you saw me out and about and you said that's Ran, remember. How you treat me in that regard is how you should treat me when we're in a professional setting. That's all I'm asking.
That's right.
That's all I'm asking. Right. So yeah, man. But Mike, man, got some books about gonna be coming out soon. I want to get these. I want to get these titles solidified first before I. But man. And Dion Common Crew. That's my nonprofit. That's what I'm most proud of at this point. Dion Common Crew. That's Dion Common CRU.com. It's a mentoring enrichment program for high school for boys ages 12 through 18. Just finished up our first year with it. I mean, it's been humbling to say the least because, when you've been blessed like I have been, I don't want the world to remember me as a person that only was about me. No. I want people to know, man, I love people. Listen, people is my passion, and serving those people is my purpose for life. So, hey, man, other than that, man, I get to talk my Titans. I'm a Titans fan for life. These people saying, Troupe, do you be rooting for the Jags or the Colts or the Texans? What? I will cancel my membership. What? Now, you ain't never heard that from me. I'm for real. Like, I don't do that. No. Now, can I be complimentary to players? Of course. But y'all know it's that two-tone blue for in the AFC. Who do I think gonna win it or who do I want to win it? It's different. I want the Titans to win it. But I got to look at, so. But Ran, look, love you, boy. Happy for you. Listen, whether you be there for 1 year or 10 years, but do it your way, which I know I don't got to tell him that, but do it your way. And listen, you got guys like Mike that's out there with the media people looking at them jokers saying, hey, bro, you might want to cut that out. Why? You disrespectful. Don't be cutting that man off. What? Come on now. I'm just saying. But we'll be back, though. The Titans will be back. I am looking forward to see who they're going to get a head coach. They will talk about Division One. Now I got to tune into the press conference when they do to get the head coach because they're going to introduce the head coach and they're going to put the camera right back on Ran. Could you tell us about Division? God, dog. You don't want to talk to him? No. So, Ran, you are a fan favorite. I don't know if they still got Sweat's Barbecue or Modell's, all that other kind of stuff.
I still got Modell's up there.
Okay.
And Sweats. Yeah.
I know they got the Nashville Hot Chicken and the Opry Mills and the Green Hill Mall and all that kind of stuff. Ran, be careful out there in these streets, man. Be careful. I ain't saying you got to protect yourself. Just be the Nashville. What I remember about Nashville is they love their Titans. They love them. It's a different kind of love, man. They love them. Shoot, they loved them with us. In my first 2 years, we went 4-12 and 5-11. That's my first 2 years. We ended up going to playoffs my fourth year because we added Lindell, Pac-Man Jones, Vince Young. We had Michael Griffin and different runs. But It'll be cool, man. Like I say, 2 years from now, you said 2 years from now the stadium gonna be up? 20.
No, it'll be up. I think it's like 3 years. 3 years.
Oh, 3 years. 3 years it'll be okay. Well, either way, shout out to the city of Nashville. I'm happy for the city, happy for the fans, happy for the infrastructure that's gonna bring. And like I say, man, Nashville a real city, man. Always been, by the way. Always been. But I'm just saying, bougie. Mike, listen, Mike in the city, drinking his tea with his pinky up, like, it's cool. Listen, I ain't mad at nobody. I will meet you at 10. I'll meet you at 9:30 for tea. Yes, could you please? Yes, I'm the mint. I get the mint tea. Yeah, with 2 pieces of ice. I like it. Country boys doing big boy things, man, all day long.
Yes, sir. And of course, if you didn't know, I'm the host, Mike Patton, on Touring the AFC South. You can find me on the artist formerly known as Twitter at Mike Patton82. That's MikePaton 82. Artist formerly known as Twitter. Props to Prince. Got to show him love. One of the greatest artists of all time. Also, you can find me on Threads and Instagram at that's THA, not THE, _general_MP. Touring the AFC South. You can find on all listening platforms, whether it be Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, let's see, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, you name it, we are there. And we're also on YouTube as well. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Touring the AFC South with your host, Mike Patton. We're out.